Welcome back to The Oracle. We predict the news so you don't have to. I'm Max Keiser with Stacey Herbert. Our guests are Alfredo Valadao and joining us via satellite from New York, Michael Hudson. Now, everyone's demanding a bailout these days. Banks, automakers, underwear, mortgage holders, Russian oligarchs, and the entirety of Eastern Europe. Now the bailout recipients are turning on each other.
I'll tell you what, I have an idea. You know, the new administration's big on computers and technology. How about this, President and new administration? Why don't you put up a website to have people vote on the internet as a referendum to see if we really want to subsidize the losers' mortgages, or would we like to at least buy cars and buy houses in foreclosure and give them to people that might have a chance to actually prosper down the road and reward people that could carry the water instead of drink the water.
Hey, Rick,
that's a novel idea.
Hey, Rick, did you...
What?
Stacey, the world wants the Oracle to tell them, who are the biggest bailout losers going to be, China or Rick Santelli?
Max, if you take a look at these headlines, the bailout losers, Santelli's Chicago Tea Party. This is, of course, referring to the clip you just saw where Rick Santelli was surrounded by bankers who had received their $9 trillion in bailout money. They're angry that irresponsible mortgage holders are now receiving $275 billion from President Barack Obama. Next headline, Clinton urges China to continue buying U.S. treasuries. Of course, none of these bailouts, whether for bankers or irresponsible mortgage holders, are possible without China continuing to bail out the U.S. government.
Michael Hudson, China is basically the bailout of the bailout of the bailouts. Can this continue?
Not really. The debts are larger than the amounts that can be paid, and there's a basic principle. Debts that can't be paid won't be paid. So somebody's going to have to take a loss, and as you just pointed out, people are trying to fight to make the loss being borne by somebody else. And the banks have a very well-orchestrated campaign to try to blame the victim. Since 90% of the Americans oppose the bailout, all they can do is try to get solvent Americans angry at somebody getting something more than them.
What I know is that we had a huge world party financed by the American credit card, and now everybody's shouting to say, oh, these bloody Americans, they don't want to pay anymore. Well, now we have to take the losses and see how we can do.
Alfredo, let's get back to this concept of Chin-America, as it's called. China-America fusing into one country for the expediency of the bankers on Wall Street. Michael Hudson, does this also mean that some of the human rights standards of China will migrate their way into America, along with the purchase of treasury bills?
No, this is a false analogy. America exports paper, China exports goods and services. It's not that China's part of the American economy. The entire central banking system, the global financial system, is part of the U.S. economy because other countries don't have gold. All they have that central banks can do is invest in loans to the U.S. Treasury.
I have a great quote here from Hillary Clinton on Dragon TV in Shanghai. We are truly going to rise or fall together, we being China and the U.S. We are in the same boat, and thankfully we are rowing in the same direction. And it looks like they're rowing over a waterfall.
China's being victimized by having all this paper that's now losing money. It doesn't want to be victimized.
Alfredo, you disagree?
I disagree with that. China is not a victim. There will not be a Chinese economic miracle without American debt. If the Chinese want to keep growing, they'll have to invest inside their country. But to do that, they'll have to put up credit. They'll have to change their political system so that the people can really... China has the lowest consumption rate by GDP in the world. So you have to have some really important changes inside China, and that will not happen.
I'm going to settle this with the Oracle. It's time now for the Oracle to predict. The world wants to know. They asked the Oracle, tell them, who are the biggest bailout losers going to, China or Rick Santelli? Chinese factory workers dump U.S. dollars into Shanghai port. No bailouts without reciprocation. That's globalized moral hazard for you. Thanks, America. Everybody wants a bailout. Are you hearing me, Rick Santelli?
I think it's a good idea. I can see them dumping the dollars into Shanghai. I think the world is not going to be integrating. It's going to be breaking into currency blocks. That's certainly what the Chinese are talking about now.
Now